Okay. Yeah, getting started was very, very awkward. I did not know how to go about starting it. I know I'm gonna have students who come in late in the real world, but Sam really threw me off. Thanks, Sam. No, I'm joking. Um, but that kind of flustered me from the get go. And then I didn't know where I was gonna start. That helps. That always helps. That was really nice of Margaret. I appreciated that. I did not bring my violin with me to class that day because we weren't going teaching, so it completely slipped my mind. I probably should have, but yeah, that didn't happen. Um, Talking while playing is really, really hard. It's something that I think I'm not terrible at it, because it's something that I have practiced, but it's still not something that like comes naturally to me. And so I don't I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, so we're gonna do two long legato pose.
Legato, that's a word. I said that.
That's
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're doing well. Yeah, just as you're bringing them in, just say what you're looking for. You got it. Take a deep breath.
I knew what I wanted here. I just couldn't get the words out of my mouth. And that happens to me often. Um as a result of a residual stammer from when I was really little, but it's really frustrating. And so, yeah, that happened. I think if I remember correctly, that happened quite a bit in this recording.
a C major scale, two long legato
There we go. That time I was able to.
Your point is long, right?
I'm hearing some intonation issues in the scale, even. I think it was second fingers and third fingers. What I'm wondering was, even if this is a warm up, would it be worth taking a moment and doing the scale again to focus on intonation if that was my goal for the entire lesson? Um, that's something I was considering. Um, my entire lesson plan was basically based off of just running it over and over again because several times in class you've mentioned that just having the students do it again will often be enough to see an improvement. And so I think that's what I was going for, was to just play it as many times as possible with as many different combinations of sections as possible, and going between like one section and two sections and the whole orchestra. I don't think I did a good job of doing this because, especially in the upper strings, when they I isolated it just to them, I kind of left the cellos and the basses out of it, where I did want to incorporate them at least a little bit, so that way they would be doing something instead of just sitting there. I think that was one of the weak points of my lesson plan, is I didn't have anything for them to do beyond wait for their turn to play, which is now what they are currently doing. Here, I thought I wasn't going to talk here because I figured it might be better to let them hear what they're doing. What are your thoughts on that? Because intonation, a lot of intonation is also listening to yourself and the people around you. And so I understand that you need to insert yourself in order to get the ensemble to do what you want them to do. But I don't see how calling out an intonation would be talking while you're trying to get them to listen would be helpful. I think maybe what I should have done here was picked up the violin again. I kind of forgot that I had it. I should have picked it up and gone back to modeling, because that was something that I probably would have been more effective as if I played each part on the violin and then had the section echo me. I think that might be something I'm going to try for the next time that we have our rehearsal plan. I'm going to skip through the talking a little bit, just so I don't run out of time. There was that one point, where was it? I isolated the violas because I thought the violas were out of tune, but then they just had open strings. So I think what I should have done there, I forget where in here it happened. Yeah, it was right here. I thought it was the violas that were out of tune, but they had all open strings. So I think what I should have been worrying about was maybe it was the second violins. I'm not sure. I maybe should have isolated each section there and then put it back together instead of just the violas and then putting it back together.
So bowing is, I like to tell students about that. And that goes for
And the bowing, that was something that I should have thought of at some point. I did not anticipate the question coming up, and I didn't anticipate it. And throughout all of like the modeling performances and the practicing performances, it wasn't something that I had thought of as for a bowing. There was going down, up, up. It's a really good idea, and I kind of wish I had thought of it, but being a violinist, I also didn't run into a problem with going down, up, down. But for somebody who is like a beginner player, they might get caught up at a tip. Even somebody our level of experience would get caught up out at the tip, and that wasn't something I had thought of.
Okay. Should I go to the others?
So what I would do is stack back out now. So you dove in, you isolated, now put it back.
And you were right. I should have done the bowing and reinforced it right away. I got really confused when you were asking me what I should have done, because I have them play it. I have them play it one more time, and I motion down, up, up as they're playing it. And I thought that was going to be enough, and then it didn't happen. And
So that's another thing, right? Like you're throwing out these very heady conceptual things, but how do you assess that? Give something that you can assess.
yeah, a lot of your comments were based off of being able to assess the instructions that I'm giving, but I feel at a loss. I feel like intonation is something that is going to come up quite often in a high school, middle school, elementary school ensemble where you are working on music. And it's something that you're going to have to work on with the ensemble, but I feel like I am running out of ideas on how to go about doing that. I think I mentioned earlier modeling for the ensemble on the violin and then having them echo me. I think that would have been one way. But I feel like intonation is very conceptual, and short of pulling out a tuner and having people play individually in front of it to like see that they're in tune, I don't know how I can make that more concrete both for me and for the ensemble.
You've already set yourself up for your package. G-string notes.
Yeah, that was the moment. This is where I down, up, and I said that as they were doing it, and not everybody did that. So then when you asked me why not everybody did that, I was thinking, but I did the thing where I'm going down, up with my arms. So I was thinking that would have been enough, but instead of just turning around and immediately making them do that, because this is like a minute after that happens.
I understand why you're doing that. Right? You've got to be looking.
And so skipping forward through talking.
Follow up your verbal record. Actually making them do it. We didn't do that, right? You said do an up there.
Yeah, that's where we're talking about that.
Ready to remind them.
Yeah, I can see how also verbally that time was blah, 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 blah. That time was more effective because I said down, up, down really loudly instead of using my hands. I think if the ensemble knows the notes really well and they're like getting out of the music, then they might see down, up, but like that could also look like conducting. So I can see how there was also confusion there.
Great. Go on to something different.
Alright, so measure 29.
So going on to the next thing. This second section, I'm going to pause this again. I'm running out of time, so I may not get to these last 5 minutes. This second section that I picked to do, I think was a lot better than the first section that I chose to do. I think I really hit my rhythm. Getting about halfway through this and getting into the second section, I also knew more of what I wanted to do and then had more success with it, so then I was able to layer in other things such as the phrasing and the first violins that I wanted with the bum ba-dum bum rhythm that they have and the pits, and then the unison between the cello and the viola. Because this is something in just about every single recording of this piece that I found, that spot was the most out of tune in every single recording that I found, from the poor one to the excellent one when we did the YouTube assignment. And so I think this was another moment where I should have picked up the violin or viola or cello or something and played for them and then had them echo it back. I think that would have been a smarter choice. Yeah, what else happens?
Pizzicato. Focus on being really soft and supportive of the two sections.
So we're going to play within this step, and we're still focusing on our first finger.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I think I need to work on disguised repetition as well. Again, in the second half of the lesson plan that I prepared, I think it worked better because I'm having the cellos and the violas focus on intonation, but then I'm able to have an excuse to have them keep doing it over and over again by focusing on the violins and the basses. And I have run out of time. So, okay, goodbye.